What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined by Brett the Butcher Wilkin, obviously from the Bodybuilding University podcast, IFB Pro. Competed in the Arnold Classic this year, placed sixth. Competed in the Chicago Pro last year and placed second to Hunter Labrada, who went on to finish fourth at the Mr. Olympia. I'm pleased to welcome Brett Wilkin to one-on-one with Desktop Bodybuilding. How you doing, man?
One-on-one, I love it. I'm good, man. Sorry, I was a little difficult this week on like timing, so we're in a groove now, so every day is kind of a set schedule. So Sundays work though. We could pop on here and chat a little bit about bodybuilding leading in. So it'll probably be the last time and kind of get a good send off,
For sure. And you definitely, man, I can notice obviously as the last couple of weeks have gone on, like with the podcast, you can tell you're just wrecked. You were just almost like zoned out at some stages, because I sort of know that mindset, and it's a good spot to be in for you at least anyway, because you got to go through that to get that really sort of gnarly conditioning. Now you're looking more conditioned. I'll bring up your Instagram soon so we can have a look at how you're looking in your recent updates. But man, the conditioning obviously is a focus for you. You've mentioned that on the podcast as well. How are you feeling about the conditioning level now? Because you can see it even in your face now. You can see it compared to a few weeks ago.
So yeah, I mean, that's continued to be the stressor. That was the main goal with this prep, was I am gonna, make sure that we steer on the side of being over conditioned and under conditioned. We set it up and we executed. So, 2 weeks out, I don't really care. I'll tell you, I was 249 something this morning. I'm pretty sure on the Arnold stage, I was 248 or 249, somewhere right around there. So that shows you where I'm at already. And then we still have those final manipulations that come in. So I'll probably be a few more pounds down, 245-ish. And that's what I thought. That's what I kind of wanted to be. I think that's where my best look will be. But we're just taking it day by day. Such a benefit being down here with Matt. He looks at me every morning and we can just set the plan daily. And obviously everybody kind of has a coach, and the pictures does work, and, doing it nationally or internationally or just through online works. But there's always a difference when you can be in person all the time. It's a dramatic difference when your coach can see you daily, and especially the small little changes. You don't have to worry about, is the lighting better that day? Is he actually better today? It takes the questions out of it. So it's been smooth, man. I mean, it's never smooth, but for the most part, it's been smooth. Energy's getting there with the lows right now, and going down to very, a low body fat. But I couldn't be more excited. And then, watching that show yesterday, you did a great job of that, by the way. I think you're kind of like the only one that covered it, and you did a very good job. We were actually, Yvonne and I were watching your YouTube and getting results from that, and it was really good. So that got me pumped up again, man, because I know, I think I can confidently say I would have been battling it out for that top spot yesterday, and I have a really good feeling of how I would have done. But that I'm just going to leave that at that. And it just got me really excited to finish these next 2 weeks out. We leave.
I was going to push you more on that, man, but I won't push you on that.
We leave next Tuesday, so about 7 or 8, 9 days. And then it's just finish it off, man. So one more hard week of training. I got me and Marty fucking killed some quads 2 days ago, Friday. It was actually the best leg session of entire prep. Like, strength was high, endurance was high. It was just one of those sessions, where like he just brought it out of me. And then he's still here. I mean, he's like an hour away, but we're going to train one more time. We're going to train hamstrings on Tuesday before he leaves. So getting some last sessions in with a good push from the boys, and man, just getting it done, bro.
Yeah, and we see you here as well doing vacuums. Is this something you do like every day during prep, or?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been killing this, man. Like I get up at like 5 a.m. I go to the gym for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours just in the morning, and just do small shit, like small detail work. I'll do some calves, I'll do some cardio. What matters right now it just matters we're doing cardio day by day, so we'll see. But it was cardio every morning, abs, posing, stretching. So I still fill that void, because I wake up just ready to go right now, man. That's how excited I am. So I'll go in there. Today was nice because I was the only one in the gym for the first like hour and a half. So I go in there, I do, probably 4 or 5 honestly 3 or 4 exercises a day of abs, of core work and abs. It's really paid off. I can't wait until you guys see these stage shots in this midsection. I'm really proud of the work we've done there. But it's just that. That's all it is, man. You got to get up. You got to do it. You got to go in there and, go hard for an hour and a half. Then Matt comes in about 8:30, looks at me, and then we set the plan for the day. I go home, do my business work on the side, and then train later in the afternoon. And I'm just on a really good schedule of, eat, sleep, repeat, work hard,
Yeah. And you can see here as well, like you said, as well, all those little things that you're doing, it's sometimes the difference, and it's the stuff that the other guys aren't doing. And you see that with Polish on stage as well. And not to point out Mikhail Krizo, I think obviously he's tremendous. He's got a huge amount of size, and he deserves to win that show on the weekend. But all the little things like the posing and stuff, he really did gas out at the end of pre-judging, which is sort of like a stage experience or a competitor experience thing that, you learn you have to do all those little things like posing for, a lot of time. And that's what you've been doing as well. And just all the little things like abs and vacuums and all that stuff. And man, you've got those hardy sort of abs, like that side ab going on there. Like he sort of really sticks out when he hits that side shot because he's got that crazy detail, and you've got that now. And I think you've got more pleasing abs in general as well. So I think it's going to be something that sticks out in your physique. And sometimes when you see a guy stand on stage in a front relaxed or a front double, when their abs pop compared to just being flat and sort of washed out, right, it really does make a huge difference. And sometimes you just go, yeah, he's just better. He just pops more. And sometimes it is to do with that midsection chest sort of area.
And what's crazy, and this happens to bodybuilders, as they continue to get better, but just mature, is, everyone kind of has their worst shots, that, what your posing shots were when, the worst, but those change sometimes. So like this prep, the ab and thigh has always been my worst shot kind of in the past, just because I wasn't hitting it right. We talked about this in the past, the acid reflex that I was having, the issues and stuff, but now I'm going to be hitting a lot of ab and thigh poses because I think it's my best shot now, just because I've been, just the posing work, overall just cardiovascular endurance. I can hold my breath a lot longer. I can pull a vacuum. And then obviously just show off those obliques. I'm gifted in that area of having, I can get lean on the obliques and shred it down, but now I just need to present them right. And that's been a big focus. Also working with, I work with Joey Bell, KJ Center Stage. If anybody's looking for some posing, he does a good job. He just pushes me. We link up a couple times a week, and we just go. So it's just you just gotta work, man. Oh, sorry, I just read a comment. It said Brett needs more Melanotan.
Yeah, so
they can tell I'm pumping it right now. I went today. I was like, I got 1 week. I'm not as dark as I want to be. So I was in the parking lot, injecting, going in there.
The Boston Lloyd injecting the parking lot.
The lady called me out. She's like, "Why are you so red? You're usually not that red." And I'm like, because I just injected Melanotan and I'm flushing right now, and I feel like I'm gonna throw up because I'm nauseous. She's like, "Oh yeah, I do that all the time." I was like, "Okay, cool."
That's funny, man. I remember once I did it. It was just I had some sitting in the fridge from this is ages and ages ago. And I was like, oh, I've got some sitting there. And I'm like, oh, I just sort of shook it up. And I was like, oh, I'll do that amount. And I don't know if it's because it's older or what, but man, I went so insanely red, but I just couldn't leave the house for a long time because I looked like I had an issue.
Well, what happened is and maybe it wasn't shaking or whatever, but you just got too potent. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
when you do a little too much because you just get nauseous and then you just flush, just red. You're just sweating, you're hot. It sucks.
The flush can be worse than the nausea as well. I was flushed out. I was just laying on the couch and it was hot in summer as well. I was like, this sucks. Ruined my day.
Usually I do it before bed, and that's usually the best time. But I've been just trying to get in when I can because I always forget.
That's the smartest time to do it, man. Let's ask a few listener questions along the way as well. I've got plenty more questions that I want to ask you too. But Ethan says, do you feel 245 is kind of small for the O stage?
I mean, you can't say that. You can't just say that as a broad term. Is 245 kind of small for me to win the O stage? Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? I'm going to be, if I wanted to be competitive against a Rami or something, I would need to be 265, 270, and, just the matchup. But you can't just say that number in general, I mean, Phil Heath, his first Olympia was in the 220s, you know what I mean? Dexter Jackson, I think, was 215 when he won his first Olympia. It goes by your look, your roundness and things. It's not just, you just can't be okay, they gotta be a certain way. Be we've had this, we've talked on here before, Sean Roden was 238 when he won the Olympia. So it's you can't just throw a number out there. For me though, yeah, I mean, obviously I need more, I'm going to need more size in the future if I want to be in that, that top call out or, battling for, with those bigger guys. But 245 right now and how I look, it's definitely going to be good enough to be able to qualify for the Olympia. And then we'll see what we can do on that stage when it comes.
Yeah, for sure. Now, obviously, with Romania coming up as well, it's under 2 weeks now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from today.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, obviously being Sunday in America, it's Monday here, so throws me a
Oh,
little bit. But obviously, yeah, 2 weeks away now, which is obviously not far. You're obviously hoping to qualify for the Olympia. That's what people are asking here as well. Got a, I think, question here. Is your goal to do the Olympia if you qualify? Obviously, that's the goal. We've spoken about it on the podcast.
so
Where do
yeah,
you think you fit in, man?
with the Romania show would be a qualifier for this year, and I want to. I've said this multiple times. I want to be part of this year's Olympia just because of the depth. All those guys going to be there. I don't want to miss that, and I really want to be a part of it. With that, also, if you don't know this already, and you're watching, I'm also staying after Romania. I'm staying over in Spain for 2 weeks, and I'm competing at the Big Man Weekend show, which is November 27th, also a Sunday. So 2 weeks from that Sunday. And that will be a qualifier for next year. So that's why I set this up.
That's smart, dude.
I wanted to do 2 qualifiers in a row for back-to-back years. Worst case scenario doesn't go as planned. Best case scenario, I get the opportunity to win 2 shows. I qualify for this, qualify for next. I'm set. So I'm putting all the eggs in the basket, and I'm obviously gonna. We talked in the past where people are like, "Oh yeah, he's only peaking for the second show or whatever." Obviously, I'm going in full bore for the first one, trying to qualify, and then make any adjustments or just keep getting better into the second one. 2 weeks later.
Awesome, man. I didn't even know you was doing that Big Man Weekend show, so that's killer.
Yeah. I guess we kind of just been focused on the first one, but no, I'm staying over in Spain with a guy that's part of the gas team, so he has an apartment for me, so I'm all set, man. It's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to this trip. Branch helped me out really setting this up. He talked to Dorian Yates in Spain, so I'm staying in that same city.
Awesome.
So I'm hoping to go train with Dorian while I'm out there too, at least get a few sessions. And so he wrote me on Facebook Messenger, but I don't check my Facebook Messenger. So I saw my Facebook Messenger the other day. I opened it up and I saw he texted me or messaged me from 3 weeks ago. I was like, fuck.
Dorian.
Yeah. And I was like, I need to respond to him. I was like, dude, I'm sorry I don't ever look at this, but yeah, can we link up while I'm out there and stuff? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, I never go on Facebook, literally because I got banned. One of my accounts got banned at some point, and then it just won't let me on Facebook with anyone's account on my phone. So
Really?
I hardly ever view it, bro. It's one of those things that you just never really see. But
I don't think you're really missing out on much except for random messages like that, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And creepers and stuff like that. But we got a question here from Renaud. Or Renaud? I don't know. What do you miss most about Colorado?
The seasons. I miss the seasons. There's no seasons down here. It's just green and humid, and it comes down a little. Right now, it's pretty nice. I mean, the humidity came down. It's 75, 80 during the day and 70 at night out here in Florida. So winters are going to be nice here, decent. But I'm a season guy. I love the fall. I love the changing of the trees, the weather. I like a little snow sometimes. So I definitely miss that. No, I'll eventually move back to that. Once bodybuilding's done and this Florida journey is done. But definitely the seasons and the drier weather up in Colorado. I really did like that.
Yeah, I always thought if I was going to live in America, Colorado would be one of those places that I'd consider because it just seems like it's a little bit away from all the I don't know, the busyness, I guess, because I'm from a place called Tasmania, which is where I live now, which has a total population of a whole state of 500,000 or something. So it's pretty small.
No, I think you would really like it. Honestly, you described it really well. It's kind of just out there in the middle, in the Midwest, kind of to the west by itself. But obviously has a huge, big population boom in there. But it's just a lot of active people. It's the most active state I've ever been in. Not too many overweight people. Everyone likes to stay busy and outside. So it's a really, really cool state, and then obviously all the features with the mountains, the weather and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. People asking if there are any good gyms at Aurora or Denver area. I mean, people saying Armburst.
Of course, Armburst. That's the only gym I went to for 4 years there. I didn't step into another gym.
Yeah, what's that gym atmosphere like? Did you train alongside Phil Heath much while you was there, or?
Early on, so when I got there in 2018, so he was getting. That's when he lost to Sean. I would see them in there in a little bit. And then we actually became friends in regards to communicate. I would bounce questions off of, went to dinner a few times. We'd go watch some basketball games. But we keep it like, honestly, a lot of it, what me and Phil did was like, obviously I love talking, like hearing his stories and shit. That was the best. But a lot of what we did was just like, we kind of we communicated not through bodybuilding, if you know what I mean. It was more like, we would hang out, go to dinner, take the ladies out. We would talk about football. We'd talk about basketball. We'd talk about our past, sporting adventures. We talk business and things like that. So he was a very good mentor that way, and just overall, good dude. But then it was always fun to get into his crazy stories of, when you win the Olympia 7 times, you got some crazy stories too.
Yeah, so. I bet, man. And
but
imagine
but people ask that all the time. No, we never trained. Like I think if you know Phil, most people know by now that Phil kind of, when it comes to training wise, he stuck to himself. He had his own system. He had his own setup. He did things his way that worked for him. If he didn't train the way I did. We have 2 different training styles. It's like, I'm very, very high intensity, very heavy weights, as many reps as you can do with those heavy weights. He was a little different there, in regards to how he would train, exercise selection. But he was also at the end of his career when I saw him too. So it was, if we were both at the beginning, when we were initially packing on that size and stuff, I bet it would have been a fun time. But I got a few sessions in him and definitely learned a few things. And he's been nothing but a good mentor over these years.
Yeah, and Phil's a bit different in person too. I think he got sort of a bad rap because he's one of the first Mr. Olympia to get that real hit of social media, and as social media really grew. So I think that no one knew back then exactly how to handle criticism on social media. And I suppose maybe back then you didn't think about as much of who's actually leaving it and how to sort of respond and how that might be interpreted by fans. And he really did cop it. So he sort of had a pretty rough go at that. And when I've seen him, I think twice in person where I've spoken to him, and he was super personable. Like he started chatting about, because I think I had a camera. This is back before he actually won the Olympia. I think I was pretty young. And he goes, man, do you know how to use that thing? And I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, oh, some people come up to me and said it's like having a guy with a 12-inch dick and not knowing how to use it or something. He's like, did I say that? And we're just cracking up. We was talking about, I don't know how we started, but we started talking about dogs and stuff like that, and his dog. And he's just a very like down to earth sort of dude when you actually meet him in person, when there's not many people around. So I think that he gets a bad rap in terms of what he's like, but he's a competitor, man. And that's why he gets his back up when people say things, and he's earned the right to be the best and call himself the best. So I imagine it's pretty tough sometimes when you're the best in the world and people are still talking shit about you.
No, I think anyone that's met Phil in person one-on-one, and what people don't realize is he does a really good job of taking time too. Like he'll stop, he'll talk to somebody for 20 minutes, and like mid workout he'll do that. I'm just, what are you doing? Like I could never do it. I'll say hi, maybe after the workout we can sit down and talk a little bit, but not mid workout. Like it's more so just me, social media and him coming into it at the time he did, and then trying to make a villain role. But the thing is, like, he has not done nothing but build up the sport and been a good person, especially if you meet him one-on-one, So I suggest everybody, meets and talks to somebody before they make any criticism on him.
Yeah. And obviously we know bodybuilding media is pretty harsh right now. And I'm part of bodybuilding media, and it is hard to know where to draw the line, because, I could have done things, said things, released stories that I know that would have hurt people, definitely would have hurt their careers, would have hurt their sponsorships or whatever. And you've got to draw that moral line somewhere. And it's hard to sort of find for some people as well, because a lot of the time those spicy stories and the stuff that sort of hurts people, or, when you go after people, is sort of the stuff that will get the most views. So it's a tough thing for, I suppose, bodybuilding media, but it definitely does, I suppose, for the athletes. I mean, how much do you think about that now, Brett? Like, obviously, you got heaps of YouTube channels, you got heaps of websites, you got all that sort of stuff that report on bodybuilding news. And sometimes some of them put it in good light, sometimes it's in bad light. How much do you think about your responses in interviews, what you say on the podcast and all that sort of stuff, and how it's actually going to be maybe reported if you say something slightly controversial?
Yeah, I mean it's sad that it's kind of has to be an issue, that like you always have to have that in your mind. Like, is someone going to twist what I say here and then run with it in a negative light and then get a whole comment section behind it? It's a thing is, like, you reach a point where you just don't care anymore. You you speak with your heart, you speak what you truly believe in. And then you feel good at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're not just saying things that try to get that attention, you know, the internet can be a negative place, man. You know that it's a very, very negative place, but it can also be a positive place. And, you know, like, that's why I like to come on here. And then that's why I like this podcast, is because, you know, we just talk shop, man. We've done that from me and you started this, 5 months ago now. And it was just, hey, let's do this for fun. We're not doing this to bring internet drama. And we don't dive into other things. We say it as we see it. And if someone wants to run with that, they can. But, you know, we like I said, we got good. We're getting good fans in here. We have a pretty positive comment section, and I've gotten some, you know, build up support from this. People write me, especially from the Australian community too. So I appreciate that. And
that's cool.
We just got to keep this going, bro.
Yeah, man. And you're coming out to Australia as well when is it, January?
Yes. So second half of January, probably like 14th through the 30th or something. But once I find out more, I'll let you know the dates of where I'm going to be. So you really need to try to, whatever I'm closest to you at, we need to definitely link up. And if possible,
I'll fly over and see you, man.
If possible, let's set up a live podcast. Let's do a little live podcast, me and you, and maybe the boys, and us together. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll definitely get over to Melbourne and come see you, because it's only literally like an hour flight. Not even that, like 55 minutes for me to get over to Melbourne. So that will be no problems. That would be cool. But it'd be awesome to do a live, and you can go train in Doherty's or any of the gyms over there, because they're sort of I think you've been there before, haven't you?
I've been in Doherty's one time. Yeah. So I went to the Arnold, Australia in 2018. So we were in Melbourne for like 4 days. Then we flew over to Sydney and spent a week there. Like I said, one of my favorite trips I've ever had. That's why I've been waiting to come back. And so now we finally got the perfect timing, and got the people in line. And so I'm going to go out there and just have a blast, man. I'm going to eat a lot of food too. I'm going to tell you that much right now.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Melbourne is a good place. Sydney as well, but Melbourne is a very good place for eating as well. So if you like good food, there's plenty of places there in the city and stuff. It's sort of like a foodie sort of location. So that's something I like doing, man. Like, because being in bodybuilding and stuff and wanting to eat generally pretty good, it's like sort of when you get to eat sort of off plan, it's sometimes a bit more fun, especially when you're dieting too. Like if you have a cheat meal. I noticed, man, you've been actually doing cheat meals as well. It's been something that's been spoke about as well a fair bit in bodybuilding. Like, should you do cheat meals? Should you not? James Hollingshead has recently competed and did pretty well, including cheat meals into his plan. And previously, he's obviously with Patrick Tour exclusively, and their sort of thing was no cheat meals, I believe. What's your views on it, man? Because you got a fast metabolism, and it seems like you probably need it to maintain your
I want to talk about this real quick. So, yeah, I know people are like giving James, shit about he chose cheat meals, and that might be why, I don't know, but that might be why he kind of went away from the tour as well, because I found out that Patrick Tour doesn't believe in cheat meals. So he does zero cheat meals. And there was a time in my career, maybe when I was like classic physique and young and didn't know as much as I know now. It's like, I kind of believe that too. It's like, I don't need a cheat meal during prep. I'll just, we'll go high days. And I get that because you want to keep it clean and there's time for that. But you also have to be realistic that though they can work and be very, very vital and be very, very beneficial if you do it right, and then you truly do it when you need it. So with that said, this prep, I started out, we didn't do any cheat meals. I didn't want to, I knew we eventually were going to need to, but at first I didn't want to, because with the Arnold prep, we were doing 1 or 2 a week, just because we would just keep trying to fill up for the size and stuff. So every time I draw 2 pounds is cheat meal. Every time I do 2 meal. So this one I was like, hey, I don't want to do cheat meal just because I want to focus on digestion. I want to get rid of this acid reflux. I want to make sure that's good. So let's just push it hard here to start. If we need it, if we need to eat up a little bit and you think I'm really flat or something, we'll do some high days here initially. And then when we get down to that, towards the end, when we get down to that, 5% or lower body fat, whatever, and we need those true cheat meals where we're a boost of fat, because that's what really comes from the cheat meals, like a burger and fries. It's that grease and the fat that makes it stick. Because what I was doing is I was still doing the high days and stuff, but I was smoking through that. Even my metabolism was firing, 2 weeks ago, I was just firing through that. So then that's when we finally, me and Matt talked. he was like, okay, it's time. We need to add in, a burger, a very fatty burger and fries to slow down the digestion because your metabolism is cranking. Like, you're eating, 900 grams of carbs and still losing a pound, on those high days, those high leg days. So we started doing this. So I think we've done like 2 or 3 now of the Five Guys, two double cheeseburgers with fries to slow that down, to make that stick. It's really, really worked. We're not overdoing it. I'm still very conscious of that. Main thing is eat the next day. I'll always make sure like I'm checking everything. I'm making sure, when I go and do abs that I'm still able, pull the vacuum, digestion's on point, acid reflex is on point, but they can be very, very beneficial if you're doing them right and your body needs them. So we've gotten to a connection and a point we can look at each other and know like, okay, this is, we need to do that. But, I think James did a good call on that. I think he's somebody like me that has to eat a lot of food. And we saw that last year at the Olympia where he flew over, remember, and he lost like 15 pounds in his trip from the UK to the United States. He lost like 15 pounds and he like looked flatter and fatter. You remember that? Like, and I talked to him after the show about it too. And he explained that's what it was. It was just like, he reached that point. And then that's what happens with us sometimes is towards the end where you reach a point where it goes into hyperdrive and your metabolism goes through the roof. And it's just like, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how many grams of rice you eat. You're just going to burn through it. So you have to, that's when you need to, get somebody in your corner that knows that knowledge, knows how to slow that down, knows how to stop that and reverse that. So that's what we've been doing.
Man, quite often after a comp, I've seen it with a lot of guys. And for whatever reason, I see it more now than I saw it 5 to 10 years ago. And I don't know if it's because guys are bigger or what it is, but even with myself, I've got a very fast metabolism. When I have added muscle in a prep, like leading up into it, because I've had short preps and stuff, added a considerable amount of muscle, when your body needs more calories to sort of maintain that muscle and to build that muscle. And you start to get like ravenously hungry and you need those extra calories. Otherwise you start to drop too quick in terms of body fat and you lose that sort of pop and that fullness. And often after comps, I've had a cheat meal. I've had a comp a week or 2 later, and you'll have that big cheat meal, and it's even after you've carved up. And then days after that, when the water comes off, you look bigger and you look harder. And it's like your body actually drops a little extra because it's got maybe some of those, maybe some omega-6s, some extra omega-6s that are maybe pro-inflammatory, but your body sort of needs it to get that little bit extra growth or recovery, or maybe getting something extra from the red meat that you've been having fish in your diet. It's just that different sort of calories, like you said, it makes it stick more. And to a beginner, that might not make any sense. Saying, what do you mean make it stick? Can't I just have more fats from nuts and then more carbs from this? But just the extra sodium, everything about it definitely makes you look and feel different.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're right. Yeah. So just that kind of that caloric bomb that kind of settles everything and, fills it out correctly. But, that's what you got to do, trial and error though, too. So that's why we're doing that now. So obviously we'll do something like we're also setting it up. We got in shape, we got where we wanted to be. Now we need to start figuring out how we're going to peak with, we're going to use the burger and fries, obviously, because now that we know it works, we just got to make sure that we're setting it up right. We'll probably do, we'll do the same routine of like, push 2 hard days, fill up the day before the show that I've been doing the last 3 weeks. So you don't want to change many variables. You don't want to just go out there and be like, all right, I got to go eat pancakes and breakfast food, and I just need to fill out. No, that doesn't work. You need to eat things you've already been eating and respond the same way there too.
Yeah, for sure. And when are you saying that you'll do the burgers and fries to actually carb up and to fill out for the contest?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we'll probably do it. We'll probably do it the day before, I'm sure.
Does any part of that make you nervous, or because you've actually trialed it and it works, it makes you feel fine about it? Or
because we've been trying it these last 2 weeks, and I've approached it like, hey, this is like, today, like I said, we've been feeding up on leg day. So we're going to approach this like it's kind of like a high day. So it's a high day on leg day, but we're going to approach it like it's the carb up day. You know what I mean? So you're almost mimicking what you're going to do before the show. And so you do those days, and then, now you know what to expect. And so I know what, that next morning when I go in, I'm posing, I'm letting it pass. I'm seeing how I look. I'm seeing how I respond. I should have a very good understanding of how I will look, And so, so the less variables, the less variables you can take out, the more controlled things you have in, the better you're going to be.
Now, I'm gonna guess that you have, but have you looked up like burger and fry places in Romania yet, or
I haven't yet. No, no, I'm
you
not.
haven't?
No, not yet. Maybe when we get there and settled and stuff. I don't know. I'm just really itching for the win, man. I want to end that. I want to win that, and then like obviously enjoy that night. And I kind of just want to go outside. Walk outside in Romania and be like, all right, I've never been here. Let's go see what we can find.
Yeah, for sure. Have you been to Romania before?
No, not even close to Romania. This is all. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to
Oh,
Europe.
awesome.
So this is going to be the first European trip. So I'm going to see a lot of first things here coming up.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. I'm definitely excited to go to Europe at some point. I've never been either. I've only been to the US and to yeah, just around places in Australia and stuff and Hawaii and whatnot. So that would be cool. Are you looking forward to traveling more with bodybuilding, like as your career sort of progresses?
Oh yeah, I think each year for the last 4 years, especially when you do taxes, you start looking at that like exponentially. Each year I've traveled more and more, and it's what I wanted. It's what when I first got into this. Watching the videos of all the top guys and seeing that was their life. Traveling to the Europe, doing shows in the European tour, they would call it, and getting to go to expos and stuff. And that's what I used to sit in my fucking cubicle typing away on my computer. Get ready for my workout after work. That was the things I was dreaming of. So we're here now, and I need to continue to take advantage of it. And I need to continue to take care of business so I can keep doing this in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you're doing a good job of it right now. Now we've got some questions in the comment. Omid Fazeli says, "Hey Brett, what do you think of Baruz Tabani, who's obviously doing that Romania Pro as well, prepped by Milo Sarchev?"
Yeah, absolutely. He looks very, very good, man. I think I told you that, from the beginning. That's kind of the only name I've really recognized. I remember his outings last year. I think he got second at a show or two. Might have been Romania. He might have got second to Samson. I think Samson won Romania last year. And then
I think he only did one or two of those late shows, and he was going to do more, but he had some visa issues, I believe.
Yeah, but no, he's gonna be super sharp. I think it's gonna be a great matchup because I think we're both gonna come in just fucking peeled, and then it's gonna come down to kind of who peaked, kept that peeledness, but also comes in fuller and poses better too. So it should be. I think it'll be a really good matchup. I respect him. He has good. Obviously has Milos in his corner, so it's going to be tough. And there's other guys too. Like I said, there were some good dudes yesterday. I'm sure a couple of those, second, third, fourth guys will come over. I think there's an Evo Gym guy, with Hani maybe even. I don't think many people know of him, but that guy will be pretty good too. So it's going to be, like I said, I think the show will become more competitive than what we saw yesterday as well. But also I don't think about that. I don't really think about who's going to be there. It's more about from the start. I said I got to be myself here, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. Casey Pavlina says, "Brett, I thought you looked great at the Arnold. I think people were perhaps bigging yourself up too much. However, do you feel that you need to redeem yourself at Romania?"
Need to totally redeem myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think I'm forced to redeem myself. I need to go out there and do what I know I can do. I think I should be any show I enter, besides maybe the Olympia, obviously the Olympia or the Arnold, I feel like I should be battling for first at any show I enter. Obviously Arnold and Olympia are bigger shows and different conversation, but any pro show, I truly believe that I have a chance to win it. So I'm going to approach that. And I know this physique will be better. I'm already, like I said, I posing this morning, I already look better than I did at the Arnold. So that just shows you where I'm at right now. And then we still have, 13 days to get better too.
Awesome. What do you want to change, I suppose, on your physique from now to when you get on stage? Is it mostly just water, or what is it?
Yeah, it's just small things now. It's just, the last little spots of holding water. I know where those are and stuff. So it's just the manipulation things. You know how it is the last couple of weeks. It's more so now that we, especially on the drug side of things, you start doing a little bit more anti-estrogens. So you got to be patient. It's like we're doing these things and your body is going to respond more. So it's not like I need to go do more cardio. It doesn't. No, you don't. Don't stay at it. For me right now, I don't want to wear my legs down anymore because I reached that point where they're, they're flattening out. So I don't need to be on the treadmill running or on the Stairmaster right now. It's just be smart, keep training hard for performance, and then letting the coach do his work on those calls right now. And then like just taking it day by day. We kind of have a plan set of where, weight wise, where I want to be when I leave here. And then, the look we want to see when we get there and settled.
Yeah, and your partner, I wanted to discuss her as well. Obviously, being a Miss Olympia competitor, in the figure, I believe it was when she's competing at the Olympia. Is that right?
Is she what?
She was doing the when she did the Olympia, she did the figure. Was that
Oh,
correct?
yeah. No, so yeah, she did 5 Olympias in the figure category. Yep.
That's incredible. It goes under the radar now, obviously, because she hasn't competed recently, at least, like
Right.
very, very recently.
Yeah,
And you're
no,
obviously
it's crazy because people kind of forget. Like that's what brought me into this sport. I spent those first, from the time I met her when I was 24, 25. Spent that first 4 or 5 years just traveling with her to her shows, to the Olympia. Training with John Meadows, meeting all these people in the industry. Meanwhile, I'm just behind the scenes, with these travels and everything, just working hard. We're living the lifestyle. She's competing at the Olympia. She's winning shows. And then, then it was my time. We got to the point that, I broke through, and that's where we're at now. And now so we kind of flip roles. And she's been super supportive, and it's been it's honestly been really, really awesome to see. And then now we kind of know, our next step, we want to have kids here in the future, sooner than later. So that's why I really want to qualify for next year's Olympia. So I can kind of, set that up for early 2023 is, looking at kids and things. Our kid. I don't know about twins.
twins, bro. A friend of mine who's a 212 IFBB pro, Aaron Pilates, he actually came 9th, I think it was, at the Olympia.
No, I know Aaron.
Yeah, he has a little boy. Well, not a little boy anymore, about it, probably 6-year-old Levi, and then he had twin girls. It was the next lot, so he's got 3 now, man. So.
Oh, yeah, twins, good. Oh man, that's a handful.
I feel like you went to say good for him, and then you're like,
that's tough. It is honestly, like we talked about. I was like, because we went to multiple kids down the road, over the years. But honestly, sometimes I was like, maybe we should just hit twins and knock it out at once and just go through it once. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna suck for a while, but at least to get it all done. They're the same age. You don't have to worry about starting all over at a young one again. So,
yeah, I honestly don't know what would be better. I've got 2 kids, obviously pretty close in age, 2 and 3, and I just don't know because that was tough, man. Like when we had my second child, Sophia. My son was only, I think, 14 months. So he's only just getting good with sleeping, but he was good on his own. And then it was like, oh, we're adding in a crying baby to the mix for however many months they suck at sleeping. But man, it's an experience. It's one of those things where you go, it's intimidating, but once it happens, you just do what you need to do. And it's just becomes sort of normal after a while. So, and your mindset sort of changes because it used to go from me being sort of like, thinking, oh, I don't want this to change, I don't want this to change. But when the kid comes along, your mindset changes and you're happy for it anyway. So I'm excited for you. I always get excited for people saying that we're looking at having a kid because you just sort of know what comes with it in terms of the good and the bad. And you're just sort of excited for overall because, I think your mindset sort of changes. And I think your career as well, you sort of go, okay, like, it puts a certain level of urgency. Are you excited for that sort of, I suppose, thing with having a child?
Yeah, no, I'm at the point, and I'm 33. It's time, So like, I'm ready for the challenge. I think it's just gonna level me up, man. It's just gonna focus more, having that responsibility even more. I love the motivation, especially like with these preps. And I talked to Flex Lewis the other day. We actually talked about this, and he was like, "It'll be the best thing that ever happens to you." He's like, "It made me become a better competitor. It makes you appreciate everything. It makes you lock in even more." So I'm definitely excited for what 2023 brings.
Yeah, man. Let's ask a couple questions and then we'll wrap this thing up. People are asking about Crizzo. What do you think about his performance from yesterday? We sort of touched on it a little bit before. That's from Victor. Do you have any more thoughts on Crizzo or?
He won. They gave him the win, so he's undefeated, I guess, right? So he won his pro card, won the Olympia. Obviously, we're not. We saw the hype all year, and I don't think it's not going to pan out to what maybe he was saying in the past, mainly what media was saying. Who knows what he was saying? It's just people write this story for him that he was going to come out, be top 3 at the Olympia, and he does have the potential down the road to do that. It just I don't think it's going to be there yet. I guess now he has 6 weeks to improve. He's already got the size, but conditioning and posing needs to come in dramatically. I believe that. I think he was good enough to win yesterday, but against when you're standing next to the Hadi Chupan, it's gonna be a different story here in December. So it's like I said, he's brought the size. He's a big boy. He brought good enough conditioning. So hopefully he just keeps chipping away, and we see even better at the Olympia. And hopefully I get to compete against him too. I kind of really wanted to. I was kind of chomping at the bit watching that yesterday. I kind of wish I was there. It would have been a fun matchup for sure.
Absolutely, man. How tall are you, by the way?
5'9".
Yeah, I thought so. So obviously 245 as well is a pretty decent weight. Nick Walker's like 2 inches shorter, and he was about the same weight. But obviously, you guys have completely different physiques as well. Like he's more of the mass monster, like a wider in general hip structure. But it's for people saying 245 isn't huge at the Olympia. I still think that's a pretty decent weight, and that's what did Phil win the Olympia at? Probably around that.
Well, I mean, it started he was in the 220s, and he won 7. I think each year he was about 5 pounds heavier. So it was like 225, 230, 235, 240, 245, 250. But he never really, I don't think he ever got over 250. When he was winning there at the end, it was between 245 and 250.
Yeah. We've got a question here from Icy Soccer. It says, for how long do you plan on bodybuilding?
That's a good question. I mean, I haven't really, sat down and thought about that. Just because I feel like I'm still so fresh and doing this. I still have so much left to, still do and prove. But I mean, at least 5 more, I can see 4 to 5 more years. Cause I know the potential still. We're bodybuilders. We look at ourselves. We're like, okay, we can still get better here, and here. I'm forever small. Let's keep going. So it's, I'm enjoying it. I'm making a life out of it. We got the businesses going now here coming up too. So I just want to keep going. And then I think a lot will tell us here this next month or so, how things are looking for the future.
Yeah. So it's obviously sort of I wouldn't say a make or break time, but it's how you do this year, I suppose, will dictate potentially where you go the rest of your career to some extent.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with taking a break at the beginning, in January with everything. But the passion's still here, the love's still here. Bodybuilding, you're always judged by your last your last placement,
Mm.
and then but you can switch that around. You can work your ass off. You can come out. You can go from being a second call out guy to winning the show the next time, and then you're the next top thing. You're the next hype. So it's always hit or miss. But thing is with me, it's always been about the consistency, the process. I love the process. I love the training involved. I love the lifestyle. I'm all in year round. So I've already, I put this time in already. If I still love it, I'm gonna continue to do it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We'll see if we've got any more questions. One more here from Casey Pavlina says, Brett, do you have any baby names in mind?
I mean, I would be lying if I didn't think of a few already, but I kind of like, so I was telling Ivana the other day, I kind of like the first name, if it's a boy, to be a W. I like the idea of like,
WW.
Yeah, like a Will Wilkin or like a Wade Wilkin or Wayne or like, just WW, something like that. Like Willie Wilkin. Let's go with that.
Dude, I knew a guy called William Williams, which is ridiculous.
William Williams, Bill Williams.
Yeah, but he didn't even go by Bill either. He went
Going by William. I like it. I would too.
But yeah, I sort of got that sort of thing going on. Not the same letter, but sounds the same because I've got my son. His name's Kylo Wills, but his I could have done that. My last name's Wills. But I called him Kylo Cameron Wills. So it's like Kylo Cameron Wills. So it sort of flows, it sounds good. But not that anyone really uses his middle name ever. But we got Spicy Terp says, what are we smoking tonight? People saying that Hardy won't make the O because of visa problems. I've heard sort of rumors around that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we can hear that every year, though, don't we?
Yeah, we hear that literally every year.
I hope he does.
Man, I hope he makes the Olympia as well because we want to see the best lineup, and it's looking to be an epic one, and pretty much everyone's in it. Yeah,
and he's been a top 3 guy the last 3 years, or maybe He got fourth in 2020, but yeah, he's been right there, and like I think he's knocking, man. So as long as he had a good offseason, I think he's going to be in that top 3 again. Let's just hope he can get over with the visa.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I can't wait for it. And yeah, Hardy, like you said, has been a top guy the past year because he got third to William Bonac and Brandon Curry in 19. And then in 2020, I can't even remember where he finished, if it was third or fourth. And then obviously last year,
he got fourth behind Phil in 2020.
That's right. Yeah. And then he got third again. So he's been a guy that's been right up there. And I think even back in 2019, I think Milos Sarcev said he had him winning. I think it was Milos. I don't want to misquote Milos there, but and you could definitely make a case for him being higher at that Olympia too. So he's a guy that's, a contender for sure. And man, I hope to see you up there and being compared to some of those guys at Mr. Olympia in 2022. I did see one question earlier that I'll finish off with in this interview. But where do you see yourself realistically placing at the 2022 Mr. Olympia? I think that was a question.
Well, realistically, I think there's enough, obviously, depth. We talked about this. You got to be realistic. That's not going to be top 10. There's just too many freaks ahead right now. Guys that put in the time, guys that are better than me. And what doesn't mean I don't want to be there next to them. Like I said, this is going to be a great opportunity. Hey, this is the best lineup we've seen in the last 5 years, whatever. Let's see where we stand. And let's enjoy this weekend. It's been awesome kind of preparing for this with Nick as well. Me and Nick Walker talk like a day now where we've gotten pretty close. And I get to be a part of his story here, trying to make that next step in the Olympia, being part of that, being with him all weekend, hopefully, with Matt and everything. And I'm just going to do it the best I can. If I can say I got 12, 13, 14 out of 36 guys at this lineup, that's a win, man. Your first Olympia. So, don't know what's going to happen, but first we got to get there. So that's all that I care about is getting there first, and then we go from there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you so much for coming on Desktop Bodybuilding once again, man. We'll be back with the podcast very soon. I'm sure you're probably going to take off time now until that first show, unless you want to jump on. I'll send you a link every week, and if you want to jump on for 5 minutes and say what's up, and we can see where your death face is at, you can do that. But obviously you'll be traveling, so we'll get you, man, whenever we can. And when you get off stage of at Romania Pro, let's try to jump on for like a 2-minute interview or something like that.
No. And like I said, when I'm over there in Spain for 2 weeks, we can do. I mean, I'm just going to be bodybuilding and laying around. So we'll definitely we can jump on a bunch of podcasts and have some fun with that.
Hell yeah, man. Can't wait for it. Anyway, everyone go follow Brett Wilkin on YouTube, Instagram. The links are in the description below. Definitely make sure you check him out. He's putting content out, and it's really high quality stuff too, man. Being down there in Florida, you've got some good videographers and a lot of stuff working on there. And there's also stuff on the Raw and Revive channel too, I believe.
Check out the one on the Raw. They're doing this little series about me, like a docu-series. I think it's like 4 or 5 episodes leading into Romania. They dropped one. It's dope. Like this guy's special, this videographer. I don't think people know, like he realizes how good he is. It's really good. They already dropped one. So I'm excited for those. We're here tomorrow or probably Monday or Tuesday. I'll be dropping the me and Marty training quads on Friday. So that's gonna be good. So I got him pretty good in this one. My endurance outweighed him, so he was huffing and puffing, but we went mental, man. We were making people come back and check on us because we were yelling a little bit too much, but that'll be a good session too. So now again, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all the support. And of course, Xavier, you as well, man. This has been great.
Yeah, for sure. Doug says Raw channel. Just go and check it out. If you type in Raw and Revive or Raw Nutrition.
Yeah.
Get Raw, did you say it's called?
It's the Get Raw Nutrition one. Let me look real quick.
Yeah, but I'm sure if you search it up and type in Raw and type in Brett Wilkin, you'll find the exact video we're looking for. Make sure you subscribe to those guys, subscribe to Brett, subscribe to Desktop Bodybuilding as well if you haven't yet, and click the notification bell button on all those channels as well. And Brett, thank you so much once again for coming on. Best of luck at the Romania Pro. Cannot wait to see you up there, man, battling it out, and hopefully you qualify for that 2022 Mr. Olympia. Man, any final words before we wrap this thing up, and want to thank any sponsors or anything?
No, like I said, just of course Get Raw Nutrition, Revive down here. It's been a great prep. It's been everything I needed. Gas, Better Bodies always supporting, and then the Butcher Hooks, they're coming December 1st. Got them all here behind me. We're loading up. I'm going to be getting all the website done, and, you know, that's how it is. So I appreciate you guys again, like I said, and let's go win this shit. And then let's just celebrate by having some fun podcasts after.
Hell yeah, man. Can't wait for it. And for those who don't know as well, the butcher hooks are awesome. Go check him out on Brett Wilkin on his Instagram page. They're like basically like a strap, like without actually having to strap it around. So it's like a quick strap with like a sort of a grip on it. And man, they look awesome. And I can't wait to try them out.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, sweet. So that's it for myself, Xavier Wills, on Desktop Bodybuilding with Brett the Butcher Wilkin. We are out.